everyone, and welcome back to the Real Positive Girl podcast. My name is Sabrina. Happy Tuesday to you all. I hope that you're all having a fantastic day. Just a reminder that the topic for this week is Stop Doing These Things, where I discuss mindsets and behaviors that I want to convince and encourage you to stop doing because they're not beneficial to you. And today, Tuesday specifically, we're going to be talking about stop being a perfectionist. But before we jump into that, again, happy Tuesday. I hope that whether your day is just beginning, in the middle, or towards the end, that you're having a fantastic day. And I hope that, things are going well. It's a Tuesday, so I don't personally feel like Tuesdays are that special of a day. I mean, we all have our favorite days, I'm sure. Like, if you're not new here, you know that it's Thursdays for me. But yeah, I just hope that it's a good day. I hope that you got a good start to the week yesterday on Monday, and it's just moving right along for you, right? Because I just feel like time is passing by so quickly. And also, I hope that you've adjusted to daylight savings time by now, because I know that it kind of messed a lot of people up this year for some reason. Also, today is Election Tuesday if you are in the United States, and I'm only going to say this once. I hope that you casted your vote however you wished, because we should all embrace our right to vote. But let's move on. So, if you are having a tough day, or you find that the part of your day that you've gone through is just not to your liking, I encourage you to take the 5-minute reset, which is to take at least 5 minutes to be by yourself and allow yourself to reset, reboot, restart your day right then and there. It just gives you the opportunity to draw a line in the sand and say, hey, I am going to just leave all the crap that's already happened to me behind, and then move forward with feeling like you can embrace the rest of the day. You have the opportunity to make the most of it, and it's going to be a good day, and you can be happy about that. Also, the 5-minute reset gives you an opportunity to take some time to problem solve if you're dealing with any issues or problems, so that you can walk away with a resolution and hopefully use that to fix the problem. And you can take a break from any burdens, issues, problems that you are currently dealing with, and then hopefully leave those behind during your reset time. I also always encourage everyone to make a list of at least 4 things that you are grateful for. Big things, small things, medium-sized things. It doesn't matter what it is. You can be grateful for finding the time to clean up your home. You can be grateful for, buying a new piece of art for your office or for your home. You can be grateful that you were able to afford to go out to eat instead of having to cook at home. And you can be grateful that you have the right to vote. Like, that could also be something that you're grateful for. You can literally be grateful for anything, which makes the list of things to be grateful for endless, which is a beautiful thing. So it means that you can practice gratitude every single day of your life without any issue. And last but not least, when you end your 5-minute reset, make sure that you're feeling at least neutral, if not positive, about the rest of your day. Because despite what you're going through, obviously with your gratitude list, you have identified that you still have wonderful blessings and positive things happening in your life. And remember, I am not here to diminish what you're going through. I just want you to focus in on the positive so that it can help you manage and get through that negative part in your life. However, I do hope that you're having a fantastic Tuesday. Like I said at the top of the show, this week's topic is Stop Doing These Things, where I try to give you some encouragement on to stop doing these certain behaviors and mindsets that are not benefiting you in your life, and your journey to become your best self, which is what I strive for here, to give you all those tools and knowledge to do that. And today, specifically Tuesday, we are talking about stop being a perfectionist. So let's just go ahead and jump right in. Obviously, I had to speak on being a perfectionist in my list of things for us to all stop doing, because it's such a prevalent problem many of us struggle with. I have personally battled with being a perfectionist since childhood, like seriously childhood. As an only child to my single dad, I did have 6 other siblings, but to my dad, I was his only child. Technically, that's a whole nother story some other time. there was an expectation for me to be as perfect as possible because he had the ability to show everyone up that he could crush it as like a single dad, and I get it. You want to impress everyone on how well you raised your child alone as a man because, in the 90s, him being a dad to a young child, that was just not generally heard of, especially where I grew up in Alaska. It was typically, it's going to be a single mom situation, not a single dad. But it was tough, it was tough for me. The expectation to be perfect for me was treating me like a token or a trophy. And I know that isn't everyone's experience, but that was my experience, and it was really tough. And that's where my perfectionist tendencies and behaviors stemmed from, because of the expectation being placed upon me from someone else. And then as I grew up, I continued to place that expectation on myself as well, and it just got even deeper and deeper into my belief system, and in a habitual thing that it just continued through my whole life. And it's only within the last few years that I'm really doing my best to, cut it back and let it not affect my life so greatly. And usually, perfectionism comes from pressure we put on ourselves or pressure from someone else that just wants things done a certain way, despite how you may feel about that. And I feel like mine was the latter first. The latter first, and then the former secondly, where someone else was placing that expectation on me, and then I just started placing it on myself. And so I understand that there are different scenarios where we've all developed that, whether yours did start in childhood or maybe when you were an older adolescent, in college, adult. It doesn't matter when it started. The fact is that you do struggle with it, and that's the problem. And that's the thing that we all want to work hard to overcome. So let's go over a few ways that perfectionism develops. Perfectionism is a learned behavior that can develop from the fear of letting someone down or disapproval from others. And it can also stem from insecurity and inadequacy, of course. And I feel like all of those things together can honestly be the way that perfectionism develops, whether, again, it was in childhood, adolescent, or as an adult. But it is definitely a learned behavior that is instilled in you. And the main belief for those suffering from perfectionism is that they are only valuable because of their achievements or what they do for other people. And I know that for my own personal belief that is the belief system, because it's like once you show that you work so hard and you do acquire all of these achievements, people are giving you so much love and care and attention for those things that you want to continue to duplicate and replicate that behavior, so you can continue to get that positive attention, especially if that's where positive attention, like that's where it began, then that's what you think you need to do to continue to get that kind of attention. And then, also like what they do for other people. Again, if people are cheering you on and giving you so much love and attention because you are doing all these nice things for other people and going out on a limb and, putting them first and putting yourself second, third, fourth, 10th, you know what I mean? Then of course you're going to continue to, again, replicate that behavior so that you continue to get that attention, especially if you're not getting it anywhere else in your life and you've realized that this is the behavior that you have to engage in to get the attention and love and care that you're seeking. It's a cyclical thing that you just get wrapped up in, you're like, I got to continue to be this way so I can get that attention that I need, and it's expected of me now, and that's who I am, and that's who I'll forever be. And I can understand how it can be really scary and crazy for you to think of breaking away from that cycle, because you are afraid of letting people down, but you also are afraid of losing the love and care and attention that other people are giving you because of the actions that you're taking and the behaviors that you're showing towards them. So I understand that you might feel like those things will go away, but honestly, if those things go away because your behavior changes, because you're not doing these things for other people, or you're not living up to the expectations that they're setting for you. And it's not generally always going to be just self-driven, but and that if that's the fear for you, then it's better for you to let those people go, because they aren't giving you that care and love and appreciation because of who you actually are. It's just because of the works that you're doing, which is completely wrong. So it's something for you to consider if that is your biggest fear of changing this behavior and trying to actually overcome your perfectionism. So in addition to that, they can hold perfectionists themselves to crazy high standards and believe they never truly hit the mark or perfection. It's truly a never-ending road of defeat. It's never-ending, because if you are truly trying to hit that mark of perfection, when no one is perfect, no one at all is perfect except for Jesus, then it's always going to be defeat, because you're always going to be like a couple steps away, a couple points away from actually acquiring the perfectionist status, the perfect status that you think that you need to work towards. And like, who wants to live in that cycle of continuous defeat? And I understand that I say that as someone that does struggle from it, but if you take a step back and see it from a different perspective, the actions that you're taking and how you're behaving, you'll see that it's also a little crazy. It's like, why am I doing this to myself when I know that, being perfect is not something that is actually attainable? So I also encourage you that if you do struggle with perfectionism, it's hard for you to see how you can change your behavior. Really try to work hard in your mind to take a step back and see what you're doing from a different perspective, or ask someone else to explain what their perspective on what you're doing is. That could be really helpful, because these crazy high standards that you have for yourself and the things that you believe that you need to hit and accomplish, they're going to be the death of you, and they're going to burn you out, and you're going to feel even worse about yourself than you already did about not hitting those goals that you think you need to be hit. And if you are on the fence on whether or not you are struggling with perfectionism, here are some common symptoms for you to consider. Feeling like you fail at everything you try, regular procrastination, you struggle to relax and share your thoughts and feelings, you are controlling in personal and professional relationships, and you have an obsession with lists and rules and work. So, honestly, I feel like some people can label themselves as a perfectionist, and maybe you don't necessarily struggle with those symptoms that I named, and that's fine, because maybe you're able to let things go and just let be good enough kind of thing. But if you find that you are struggling with all those things and you never actually put a consensus or a name to what you feel like you're struggling with, because you never were able to pinpoint it, hopefully that'll be helpful for you to identify that maybe you are struggling with perfectionism. And after identifying what perfectionism is and how it can manifest in your life, let's mention some ways to overcome it. And know that nothing is a magic solution. Anything that I'm going to name, also just know that the steps I'm going to give you are not a conclusive list. They never are. You can always go to Google and search more ways for you to overcome perfectionism, but always but these steps are going to be something that will help you progress with success over time. And that's what's important. What's important is making progress over time and actually working on overcoming these things that we struggle with, because again, we're never going to be perfect, but if we work on ourselves, it'll get us to those next steps on our journey to becoming our best self. So I'm going to share with you 6 steps to help you overcome perfectionism. So step number 1 is to identify the underlying beliefs that drive your perfectionism. So like I said at the top of the episode, where I was describing to you where my perfectionism tendencies and behaviors and mindset came from, that is something that you also need to do for yourself. You need to take a step back again and look at the underlying factors and come at it from a different perspective. Because if you don't already know where that established, that became a thing in your life, you should take some time to consider it. Because the more that you understand where it actually grew from, where it was born, essentially, the better you're able to squash it and overcome it. Because you're like, oh my goodness, this is where it came from. This is the reason why. I need to realize that those thoughts and the way that I'm thinking about that and that mindset is incorrect, and it was manipulated or influenced by this person or this situation or whatever it is. You know what I mean? When you're able to find the origin and break things down, it's much easier to realize how your mentality, I'm trying to figure out a nice way to say it, your mentality and the way that you're thinking and those behaviors are silly and not correct and, blown more out of proportion than you ever could have thought. Do you know what I mean? And there's something wrong with struggling with perfectionism or really any sort of emotions or feelings or behaviors or mindsets. There truly isn't. However, if you are able to look at it from a different perspective, it'll be so much easier and your eyes will open a little bit wider and you'll realize, wow, I wish I could have seen this sooner. Sometimes regret will creep in there, which you shouldn't let it, because we all make mistakes and no one's perfect. Again, let's remind ourselves, no one is perfect. But just know that it's really important to find the origin of where that belief and mindset started so that you are able to get a grasp on those beginning stages so you have a better opportunity to overcome it, because you're able to come those beginning beliefs, which will help you over the span of your recovery time in your journey to overcome it. Step number 2 is to accept that everyone makes mistakes. Again, no one's perfect. Everyone makes mistakes. And if you are able to actually truly internalize that and believe it, you will not try to kill yourself to be up until like 2 or 3 in the morning trying to perfect the perfect presentation for work, or do extra work because you feel like that is the expectation that is being bestowed on you, when actually you're putting it on yourself and you think that it's going to ruin your reputation and how people view your work ethic if you don't go that extra mile, right? But just doing this will, again, lead to you just feeling burnt out and overwhelmed, and you will just want to just give up because it's just all too much. It's just all too much. So you have to accept that everyone makes mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes, because honestly, those mistakes and those slip-ups are some of the best learning lessons that we could ever have. Like sometimes, when people say that they just have to go through that hard stuff to actually learn the lesson, like sometimes you just do. And that's when you learn the lesson the most, the strongest, and the deepest, and it'll roll with you for a lot longer in your life than a lesson that is learned maybe by someone just telling you and you not actually experiencing it at all, because you don't truly know what the pain is involved in making that mistake. You know what I mean? So you have to internalize the fact that everyone makes mistakes. It's okay. It's expected. And that's what helps us grow and become stronger and help us on our journey to become our best selves. Step number 3 is to create realistic goals and expectations for yourself and others. We'll come back to the others part, but you have to create realistic goals and expectations for yourself, because if you don't, you will continue to feed the monster that is perfectionism. You will continue to push yourself higher and higher and higher until you really just want to jump off the cliff because it's just too much and it's unattainable, and you get up there and maybe you'll realize it, but then your mind tries to trick you and be like, oh, but if you just do a little bit more and a little bit more. And those are the negative not inner critic, but it's like that is the inner dialogue that is telling you the wrong thing and, trying to convince you, because not everything that your mind tells you is true. Just know that, because a lot of it can be influenced from what other people say to you and other negative things that you internalize, and then those things turn into thoughts that you just recreate in your brain that you're telling yourself, and it's not always correct, okay? We can't always trust everything that our brain is trying to convince us of. Just absolutely know that. But it's important to know that we have to create realistic goals and expectations for ourselves because we have to be reasonable. And if we are able to be reasonable with ourselves, then we will be able to be reasonable with others. So you might think, well, why can't I have high expectations for others if I have high expectations for myself? Believe me, I've been down this road many times, and it's because honestly, people don't have the same beliefs, and they haven't internalized the same battles and struggles that you've gone through, and same experiences that have caused you to become such a perfectionist. And it's important for you to realize that everyone has the opportunity and has the right to create whatever their own expectations are. Now, if their expectations are crazy lower than yours, even lower than what the median should be, hypothetically, you still have to accept that, because that's the choice that they make, and everyone is responsible for themselves, and they get to make their own choices, and you have to accept that. And that's a really big struggle for perfectionists to overcome, because they don't understand why everyone else isn't shooting for the stars every moment of their entire life. But some people already know that that's so exhausting and unrealistic and just not something they necessarily care about. Some people enjoy being kind of in the middle. I wouldn't say mediocre, because that sounds really negative, but you know what I mean? Like, they're not like shooting for the stars, but they're doing their best, and they think that their best is their best, and that's all they want to do. And that's totally fine, because everyone has different levels of ambition. And I would say that a perfectionist level of ambition is way too high. And that's coming from one that is, personally. But it's important to realize that you have to bring it down a little bit, especially if you do want to link up and match up with someone else, because you'll just drive that other person crazy if you're always trying to be above them or to match yours to them. Do you see what I mean? That it's never going to truly link up if you're always sky high. Plus, think about how much easier it will be, even if you just come down 10% and realize how much more that you actually can accomplish if you lower your expectations a little bit and you have realistic goals for yourself. You'll actually accomplish more goals, and you'll actually follow through with more plans and decisions and whatever it is that you are trying to go after in your life. And you might be saying, well, of course I'm going to, because I made it easier. How is that a challenge? You could still make it a challenge. You could still make it something that's going to challenge you and push you forward and make you smarter and make you stronger, but it doesn't have to try to kill you in the end because you're pushing too high. You gotta bring it down just a little bit. Step number 4 is to practice saying no more. I mentioned this yesterday. It might be a step in all the episodes this week. I don't know yet, but it's definitely important, because if you practice saying no to things that you actually don't want to be involved in, that you don't want to help in, that you don't have the capacity to be a part of, then you will not overextend yourself, which is also a tendency of those that suffer from perfectionism, because you want to be that person that's always there for them, because that's another way for you to shine and be perfect. It's also another way for you to have the highest expectations of yourself, because you always say yes, you're always there, you're always available, you're always that perfect person that is there for everyone and doing everything that you can. But you can't do that. You can't take care of yourself and say yes to everything. You have to learn to say no. You have to learn to have your own personal boundaries. And if you want more information on personal boundaries, just so you know, I did a whole week on it. Go back into the archives of the podcast. I did 5 whole episodes of personal boundaries. They'll really help you. However, you need to establish and really stick with your personal boundaries. Your life will be a hot mess if you don't. People will walk all over you if you don't. You will never actually truly take care of yourself if you don't. You have to establish those personal boundaries. So you have to practice saying no to things that you don't have the time for, you don't want to do, and you don't have the mental or physical or time capacity to be engaged in. Okay? Like you just have to. You just have to. I'm going to stop right there because I talk so much about personal boundaries like every single week. But you have to. You have to say no. And it'll help to lower your expectations of yourself as well. Number 5 is to challenge your inner critic. Know you're enough. So this kind of goes back to what I was saying before, where you can't necessarily trust everything that your mind and your brain is telling you, because we ingest, so much negative input from the world, and then it gets twisted around in our brain and it starts telling us these negative things, and we think that it's true because it's our brain and we think we can trust it, when in reality that's not always true. And we need to realize that our inner critic is going to be the hardest on ourselves. It's going to tell us to keep going just a little bit more, just a little bit higher, just a little bit harder. And those aren't healthy thoughts. Those aren't healthy ambitions. There's going to be times where that is healthy because you need to challenge yourself, because you need to push yourself in a time where you're feeling lazy and where you're actually not doing your best. But if you honestly feel like you're putting in the time and the effort and the work and doing your best, then you don't need to keep pushing yourself and nagging yourself to go a little bit harder, a little bit more, a little bit deeper, because it's not going to truly benefit you at all, because you're really just burning yourself out. You're pushing yourself too hard. You're not going to actually learn or gain anything from those extra experiences. You're just not. It's just too much. Your brain and your body can't absorb it. It just can't. There's a breaking point for everyone. And then know you're enough. Just know that whatever you're able to do and do it confidently and feel good about it, that's enough. You don't have to always be the best. You really don't. You don't have to be the world's best at everything. You don't have to outshine everyone that you know and that you're friends with and that your family is. And even if people are trying to make things a competition and say who is the best, you don't have to engage in those things to prove your worth and your care for yourself and what you're all about. You really don't. And honestly, it's more mature of you to not engage in those things all the time, because then you know that you are just content with who you are, and that's honestly the best thing. And I know that sometimes, a lot of times, when you're in those deep perfectionist thoughts, it doesn't sound like it's the best thing. It doesn't feel like it's the best thing, but it really is, and it'll give you an opportunity to really practice more self-care and have a deeper understanding of your true self-worth. And last but not least, step number 6 is to take breaks and practice relaxing. This is something that I'm still struggling with. A lot of people that struggle with perfectionism find that they can't relax or take breaks because they feel like that is time wasted that could have been spent doing something else. I even personally experienced that this evening when I got off work, and I was looking forward to getting off work because there was chores around my house that I wanted to get done. And I understand you're probably like, yeah, Sabrina, that's totally normal. Sure. It's normal. But then even my husband came when I was in the middle of cleaning the bathroom or something, and he's like, oh, are you going to take a bath? Because yesterday I was thinking about taking a bath and I didn't. And I've only taken one bath since we lived in our new house. And part of the reason we got this house is because of the nice bathroom setup, and I love it. And the tub that's in the master bathroom, and it's beautiful. But I've only taken one bath the whole time that we've lived here, because I can't tell myself that I deserve to relax in the bath when there's so many projects to do around our new home. I feel like every other day there's a piece of furniture that needs to be built. Our home is a lot bigger than our old home, so there's lots of things to clean up, and we're continually going through the stuff that we brought with us and see if there's anything we actually need to get rid of, making decisions on where things should go, yada, 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 So I always feel like there's a project that I need to be doing. There's work that needs to be done, and relaxing is tough for me. On Sunday for football, I did sit on the couch all day. I didn't do any chores until the evening time, but I sat on the couch all day and watched football and took a nap, and it was glorious. And it did feel like I was lazy and like I should have spent my time doing something better. But then also there was this overarching feeling of content and like, no, Sabrina, you made the right choice. You don't always have to be the one that's cleaning and organizing and getting everything put away, because lazy days are the days where you recover and you become stronger and you're ready to do even more the next day. But I still did chores that evening. I just spent the majority of the day on the couch, which I felt good about. So you have to take that time where you relax, take breaks, re-energize, recharge yourself so that you can give everything that you got to the next task, to the next goal, to the next thing that you want to achieve. Because if you don't, then you're only going to have like 75%, 50% of the actual power and ability and mental capacity that you could have had if you actually took a break to refuel and recharge. That's how I like to think of it. So consider that. Practice relaxing, take breaks, know that that time is not wasted. It is heavily needed, and it'll make you stronger and more capable time after time. Okay, you guys, well, thank you so much for listening to the Real Positive Girl podcast. Again, my name is Sabrina. Thank you so much for joining and listening and downloading. I really, really, truly appreciate it. Check the description box for notes for the show, where to find me on Instagram, my email address. Feel free to contact me with any questions, comments, concerns, prayer requests, topic suggestions, feedback, or just to say hey, hi, hello. You can come talk to me on Instagram and my email. I'm always there. But I hope you come back tomorrow and for the rest of the week talking about stop doing these things. Just a sneak peek into tomorrow, I am talking about stop putting yourself last. But until then, have a good one, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.